Hi everyone, welcome to Beyond the Veil, and we are Ladies of the Veil. I am Lady Coco,
And I'm Lady Amy.
and today's episode of the podcast is the haunted history of Plas Teg.
Yeah. So we touched upon about this place in our last podcast, but we'll go in a bit more in depth today. So Plas Teg is an imposing Jacobean mansion. It was built in 1610 in the North Wales village of Flintshire by Sir John Trevor. The building is believed to have been used as a local court by the notorious Judge Jeffreys. He was called the Drunken Judge, and this place was often used for people who were tried and hung. It's also believed that Plas Teg was used as a sanatorium, although, however, there is no concrete evidence or records to support this. I'm sure it comes to no surprise that with such a varied and violent history stretching almost 400 years, that there are many more ghost stories and encounters of the supernatural. One of the most well-known spirits is Dorothy. Dorothy was daughter to Sir John Trevor, and as her story goes, at the age of 16, she fell in love with a local farmer's son named Iorwerth. Her family disapproved and forbid Dorothy from ever seeing him. Dorothy and Iorwerth planned to elope, and she secretly began to hide her jewels and trinkets in a jewelry box buried near the well on the property. When the time came to run away and elope, Dorothy ran to the well to retrieve her jewelry box. But tragedy struck when, allegedly, Dorothy slipped down into the well to her death. Sadly, her body would not be found for 2 months, and her jewels were missing. It is believed that her spirit is said to haunt a section of the road that runs past Plas Teg, where she likes to stand or run into the middle of the road, and many people have feared that they've hit a person, but when they get out of their car, there's no one to be seen. Other accounts report picking up a lady who was hitchhiking on the same stretch of road, but when the driver turns to talk to her, they find they're alone, and the lady has disappeared. This has unfortunately caused many accidents, and sadly some were fatal. Iorwerth was accused of her death. Distraught at both her death and the accusations, he hung himself, and many believe that Iorwerth's spirit also haunts the grounds looking for his lost love. Another incident involving the well happened in 1815 when Elizabeth Frances Trevor Roper was killed falling into the same well. Quite like Dorothy, she was 16 years old. However, in Elizabeth's case, two men had fallen in love with her. Elizabeth only loved one of the men, and a duel was held to determine who she was to marry. The man she loved lost the duel and was killed, and Elizabeth, heartbroken, fled into the house, terrified that the victor of the duel would target her next. It's not known if Elizabeth took her own life by throwing herself into the well, or if a struggle ensued and she was pushed down and ultimately drowned. Many have witnessed a ghostly man chasing a ghostly woman through the house. She screams and cries, and the man is said to be bleeding from a gaping wound on his shoulder. We wonder, could this be Elizabeth being chased by her unwanted suitor? Throughout the house, the sounds of wailing can be heard. Could this be caused by the ghost of John Trevor V? He died at Plas Teg somewhere in the mid-18th century after driving his carriage into a tree at high speeds. John Trevor V had been drunk and allegedly killed his wife in a wave of anger after discovering she was having an affair, and he died a very slow and agonizing death from the injuries that he sustained after the crash. Mediums have claimed that to be at least 15 ghosts at the residence of Plas Teg. The regency room is the most haunted room of the house. It has a very eerie an oppressive atmosphere, and visitors have reported being grabbed, pinched, poked, having their clothes pulled, and even being hugged by unseen forces. Disembodied arguments, screaming and crying, have been heard on the timber staircase. This staircase is said to have been made from the wood of a Spanish Armada ship. There have also been numerous sightings of a grey lady holding a candle. According to legend, a father also suffocated his own little children in one of the bedrooms, and a shadow figure of a child has been seen there on many occasions by many different people. Object, Objects move and sometimes are even thrown at people, and three phantom horsemen have been seen on the grounds as well, and there are tales of gruesome murders in the surrounding woods. The building itself has been used in many different ways over the last 400 years, from residential to storage, and from courts to even housing for soldiers during World War II. And we are very sure that there are many more stories within its walls, and a lot more ghostly tales for the future. If you'd like to talk more about Plas Teg or suggest your own stories, please join our Discord. The link's down below in YouTube or in About Me section for Twitch. And this has been the Haunted Histories of Plas Teg. We hope you enjoyed this week's podcast, and we'll see you all next week. Bye for now.
Bye.